Ray Delgado has fixed diesel engines for 31 years, and today he stood in his own bay, unable to tell you why a 2-year-old truck wouldn't start. The engine wasn't broken, the permission to fix it was. Across the country, master mechanics with decades of hands-on knowledge are being locked out of the exact machines they were trained to repair, not by mechanical failure, but by a $4,800 diagnostic software subscription they don't own and can't afford to renew every year. Ray's shop has sat on the same corner in Fresno since 1994. Same lift, same tools, same steady hands. For the first time in his career, he's turning customers away. By the end of this, you'll understand why the truck sitting in your driveway may no longer fully belong to you, not in the way you think. There are roughly 160,000 independent diesel and heavy truck repair shops operating in the United States. Nearly a third of them report losing repair jobs to manufacturer-only service networks in the last 5 years alone. Ray's story is not unusual. It's the median case. In 2023, he turned away $212,000 in potential repair revenue. Not because the trucks were too complex to fix, but because the software required to even read the truck's error codes was locked behind a manufacturer paywall, updated annually, and priced to make independent ownership unprofitable. Ray closing out an invoice, then a customer's truck being towed toward a dealership instead. The system responsible isn't a villain in the traditional sense. It's a business structure. Manufacturers write the diagnostic software. Manufacturers own the software, and manufacturers decide who is allowed to use it, at what price, and under what terms. That structure didn't happen by accident. It was built, deliberately, over the last 15 years. But this is only the surface layer. What happened to Ray's industry has a name most drivers have never heard, and once you know it, you'll never look at a repair bill the same way. In the early 2000s, diesel trucks were mechanical. A skilled hand and a socket set could diagnose almost anything. Then came emissions regulation. Mechanic using only hand tools on an older diesel engine. To meet federal emissions standards, manufacturers embedded computer control units into every major system: fuel delivery, exhaust treatment, even engine braking. The engine became a network of sensors reporting to onboard software. That software needed to be read, interpreted, and reset. And manufacturers made a choice. They could have kept diagnostic access open, the way it had been for a century of American auto repair. They didn't. 3 words. They chose control. By 2015, most major truck manufacturers required proprietary tools, proprietary logins, and proprietary subscriptions just to clear a single warning light. Independent shops were locked out of systems they'd been legally allowed to service for generations. Old analog dashboard gauges next to a modern digital ECU error screen. Dealership service departments, meanwhile, had built-in access. No subscription fee, no paywall, just the manufacturer's own network, serving the manufacturer's own bottom line. 3 words. Repair became revenue. Manufacturers had discovered something dealerships had known for decades but never had the technology to fully enforce. The truck itself was only the first sale. The real profit lived downstream, in every part, every code reset, every software license required to keep it running. But here's what most people get wrong. Most drivers assume dealership repairs cost more because dealership labor is better. That's not the economics. Dealership diesel labor rates now average $189 per hour, compared to $115 per hour at independent shops. That's not a quality gap. It's a monopoly premium, charged because dealerships are often the only entity with legal software access to certain repairs. Here's the human scale version. A $189 hourly rate on a routine 6-hour transmission diagnostic job costs $1,134, more than the average American spends on car insurance in 4 months. Now the counterintuitive turn. You would expect manufacturers to make their real money selling trucks. They don't. Diesel truck manufacturers now generate an estimated 31% of total lifetime revenue per vehicle, not from the sale, but from parts, service contracts, and diagnostic licensing over the truck's operating life. That number resolves the surface layer from Section 2. The system isn't repair shops failing to modernize. It's manufacturers redesigning the entire truck to require them, forever. A single diagnostic subscription license, the same one Ray couldn't justify renewing, costs manufacturers less than $40 to issue. They sell it, market by market, for over 100 times that price. $40 cost versus $4,800 sale price, side by side. This is why the truck in your driveway isn't fully yours. You own the steel. The manufacturer owns the permission to fix it. And every year that permission gets more expensive, not because repairs got harder, but because the manufacturer knows you have nowhere else to go. That's the piece almost nobody outside the industry understands. You've probably felt this without ever having the words for it. That moment your mechanic shrugs and says, "Has to go to the dealer." That feeling that something's wrong with a system that used to just work. You were right. It's not you. It's not your mechanic. It's the business model underneath the hood. Ray looking at a diagnostic screen, then setting the laptop down and picking up a wrench instead. Here's what most people never realize. Right to repair laws exist in a handful of states specifically because of stories like Ray's, not as consumer protection theater, but as a direct legislative response to manufacturers locking independent shops out of trucks they are legally licensed to service. Knowing this puts you ahead of almost everyone who's ever paid a repair bill without asking why it was that high. Every forward reference from this script points to the same conclusion. The truck was never the product. The dependency was. Which brings us to what happens next. Ray still opens his shop every morning at 6. He still has the skill. What he no longer has, on some mornings, is the legal right to use it. Ray locking up the shop at dusk, a diesel truck with its hood still open in the bay. As more states weigh right to repair legislation, and as diagnostic subscriptions climb faster than repair rates, the question stops being about trucks. It becomes about who gets to fix anything you own, and who decides what that permission costs.